gotta be 50. Come on, Twitch. Give me something good. There we go. Okay. I should remember to post this one. Alright. Hello, Surya. Welcome to stream. Okay. So. I'm working on stuff. How you almost re-up with the stream? Mean of you. So I'm gonna say it now, but I know I'm gonna remind people later. So if there is any questions or anything people want to see specifically, or things you want people want me to cover, it's the point of the stream. So let me know, and I will do that. In the meantime, yes, you could Sky Taco, I guess. But yeah, so yeah, if there is any questions that people want to cover, actually, Surya had one. Then I think about it, and it's not on this file. Yeah, I remember that after I said that. I'm like, anybody have any questions? Oh yeah, you asked it before. Hopefully this opens fine. I think it's this one. Oh. No. I'll say again, as people just propping up. So yeah, if anybody has any questions or wants to see something specific, or wants me to cover a specific topic in detail, let me know. Actually, just a little bit ago, we had a question come up that I wasn't 100% sure on, so we played around with it, figured out how to do it, and I learned something on how to do things myself for the process. So it's always a learning experience for both sides. I actually just watched a thing too. I forgot the name of it. It was how to learn fast or to understand something quickly, and they said if you can teach somebody else, you can learn it better yourself, and especially if you can break it down into its simplest terms. And I thought about it, and I'm like, yeah, actually, I think when I help explain other things to people, it actually builds it to be more concrete in my head. And I think that's actually what's helped me get better, is the fact that I've also put out tutorials and I help people. I think that's made it so I've learned quicker, which is I never really thought about. So it's actually something to do, or something to think about. I forgot what it's called though. Amours or something, I can't remember exactly. Anyway, so Surya wanted to see a specific particle from this one and how I did it. Namely, I'm guessing you're talking about this one. So the one at the nozzle, the head of the ship here. And if I remember right, I'm thinking it's a modified version of the speed lines. It's hard for me to remember this. Yeah, and actually this one, if I remember right, there's actually a lot of particles involved with that. I think that's what all these are. Kind of. Well, there's the main ones. There's also another one coming off just right up here. So, alright. So, let's make sure there's anything else here. Alright, no. Alright, so let's take a look and break this down. So, the fin is going to be the top one. That's to the top right. Okay, so that's the only one at the top, right? Okay, yep. Alright. So I have to remember how this is done. And do know that some of these particles, when I was working on them, I think it was mainly for the explosion, didn't work for small size. Actually, let me load this. This had a multi-map, so this kind of doesn't work if it's not the map loaded. Hello. Okay, so let's start with this one, but I know, like, when the plate explodes, I think it's this one, the only way to get the particles to work right was to make it enormous. So this plane is absolutely humongous on here, because it's the only way to get it to work. So, but that's not the one we're looking at. So let's break this down. First, I want to figure out where I got this one. So yeah, okay, it was the speed lines. And the speed lines are on the workshop. They are just a collection of various types of speed lines. I've used them for stars moving or for speed lines. Or in this case, I see something that was... Sorry, I didn't have enough caffeine or something. I need something that was shooting off just particles randomly in one direction. So I grabbed the speed lines large because I believe those were all coming from a singular point. But the thing is, these were heavily modified and I can't remember what I did for everything. And this is broken to pieces, and what I did for it was, there's one for the fin here, because this fin bit needed something coming off of it, sharp edges with something going down like that, to me needed something, so that's why that was put there. You can see here that really all this model is doing is just rotating. It's not even, it's all like camera work and everything that makes it look like it's doing that. But anyways, so, and one of them that was just, I need to go get more caffeine. I needed something that was shooting off random particles that was smaller, so that's what this is, just little bits here. I'm just gonna show what it is first, and I'll go and look what they are. Then I had the main one. This is a big one, and it's the same particle in essence, but just really, really big. And that's just to create kind of a gushing off wind effect. Then there's another one that was a little smaller. So this one again is just at the edge. And it's essentially, these are all about the same thing. And then just different sizes. And then one that's even smaller right at the nose. And then when you put them all together, get that. But let's look at what. Let's look at. I think this one. Let's look at this one. Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't really tired till now. Okay, so like I said, I'm not going to be 100% sure as to how I did this, because this was a lot of playing with particles to make it work. And technically these aren't really coming out of a specific point. It's really weird how they work, but I just took that particle effect, changed some of the coloration, positioning, all that to just make it do this. I wish I could like export this specific particle effect, but I can't because it's instanced, and to go through all these values would take forever. But let me look at what that actual particle effect looked like. The base one, which was Here's on the workshop speed lines. Okay. So this was the base effect. Base effect. And I think I didn't even use all of it. Yeah, I used the HUD large. Okay, so these were already blurred a little bit. So this is what this particle effect originally looked like, and I Let's just play with the values, kind of try to get it to what I used. I recommend not deleting any of these values when you're working with something. It's better to just turn them off, because sometimes you'll break something by deleting something that you didn't realize until later, and then you can't undo it. So, for one, position modify, I don't want it being over here, I want it in the middle. So we're going to turn that off. So operator enabled, bam, puts it right in the middle. This is right now aiming that direction. Oh, there's another modify warp. Let's see what happens if we turn that off. It brings it in a little bit to the middle, so we'll keep that off. Position along ring, that's fine. But I probably want to have, since this is positioning within a circular shape, we're going to bring this in. So initial radius, let's bring that down to 10. Okay, it's getting closer to what we need. These are like way too big right now for what we need. So let's shrink those down a little bit. So this is the radius random. This is saying anywhere from 25 to 75 units. So let's bring this down to 5 to 10. Kind of, but not. It's kind of the fatness of it that makes them not look good. Well, that'll work. And it's spawning, but being way too long. So that's why it's spawning like in this central point. At least I'm pretty sure it is. I just want to make sure it's still not offset. So, but you can see the central points right here. So we got to figure out. I think that it's spawning here in that circle. It's just when it spawns, it's already pretty long. So I gotta remember how I got it to spawn further out. Well, you can always just increase the speed. Max initial speed. So let's just up the speed. Okay, that kind of worked, but now we're gonna have to. What is this? So I'm just gonna play with values. I'm just gonna increase this. Okay, that did kind of work. I can't remember what I did to stretch those out so that they wouldn't do that. Was it just increase the size of the ring? Yeah, I think that actually will work. To a degree. But yeah, but really that's, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but yeah, that's really all I did was just played around with this particle effect and just get something that worked. If you wanted to make more of a smoky effect for it, that's where you'd want to have a nice big one like this. And then you can, that kind of gives that nozzle end like piercing feel to it. Yeah, so I'm just answering your question on how I did a particle here, but like I said, this was a couple years ago, so a lot of this just came down to putzing to get something to work. But really, I think if you just increase this like radius, yeah, like that, then it'll work. Because the speed can determine how flat it is, because if it's flying away further, it's going to make the lines flatter or fatter. I can't remember exactly, but you play with the speed and the difference to the radius, and that should kind of work. So if I drop the radius, I can then probably just drop the speed. I don't know if that's going to be the speed though. I can't remember if I did a specific spot for the other one either. Yeah, it's like that. And then you got, that's actually looking pretty good for an nozzle thing. And you could even set something up so that it increases speed with time. It might actually flatten it out further. But yeah, so that's the one to do it on. And this should be in the workshop. It hasn't like required me to delete it yet, so I'm pretty sure that it's still fine. I gotta say this is good for downloading maps. The only three that are really good are DeviantArt, but finding them there can be difficult. There's or Pony SFM. That's kind of the they both go together, but there is just other places for SFM maps in general for that. The workshop's probably the best place, and then the not so well-known place is SFM Lab. SFM Box went down years ago, so this is kind of the replacement, but you get some models that are in here that you're not going to find in the workshop, which is pretty so you'll find some unique stuff here. Like, I mean, this is actually a pretty good female Titan model, so I don't even know if that's in the workshop, or here's a nice cool little particle effect. Yeah, so it's that one, just probably modified to work better. So that's kind of funny. So look at that little head. But yeah, that's actually a pretty good place to go as well. Yeah, they have some of the NSFW stuff too, but in general, you do find stuff there that you're not going to find elsewhere. So, if you're willing to take that risk. Besides that, I don't know too much as to where else to look for stuff. If you are willing to like browse Gmod stuff, and you might have to do some conversion stuff, but that does work. And then sometimes you just find random packs in forums. Some of the stuff I've gotten has been off of forum posts when I did searches, and I just ran across, and it's like, oh yeah, here's a 1 gig file with a whole bunch of stuff. So, can you add in a skybox and SFM? Kind of. You can't add an actual skybox, though I think that somebody has a model out there that actually has an attached skybox, so it actually acts like normal skybox, but I'm not 100% sure. I think that was on the workshop when I looked at. But otherwise, there's sky domes and sky cards. So for like this, this just utilizes I think this is a sky dome. Yeah. So this is a sky dome. Its actual full size is there. So, but then there's also sky cards, which are similar but only cover one side, one view, which I prefer, drastically prefer sky cards over sky domes. Domes are useful, but they're usually much lower quality and can look really awkward when you start looking towards the zenith, because you start getting these little weird circles. So, but yeah, I actually most of the stuff I've done I do in this map right here. This is my bread and butter of the scene build void, which is the a map that utilizes the absolute maximum Z distance, because if you start hitting the corner, you start having stuff disappear. So, and even so, maps are useful, but I think the most useful ones are the ones that are simple and create just a base to work from and then build it yourself. Because a lot of pre-made stuff has pre-made lighting and stuff you can't modify and you're locked in with. And having the inability to like put a camera somewhere because a wall's in your way, or the inability to modify the lighting in the way that you feel would work well. Yes, you can play with like the tone map scale to decrease and increase brightness, but problem with that a lot is particles can't have a limit on how bright they can get on some stuff. And so if you start dropping the brightness, you may never be able to get a super bright particle, like a glowing effect off of anything. It's going to look dumbed down because your camera's actually creating a grayish filter over everything. So yeah, I recommend making your own scene builds, but that's also a huge time investment. So that's kind of up to you. I wouldn't start that early on. I think it's better to focus on just getting better with the software. But like, if I were to try and or like, yeah, this is probably one of the best examples here. If I were to try and build this in a map, this scene would be I wouldn't be able to make that with anything. I'd have to fight the map itself, so I just want a big empty area, and then I can dedicate my resources to what's on camera and nothing else. Where with a map, you have all this stuff that's loaded around you and behind you and off camera or is never seen, or other scripts potentially running in it that aren't going to be utilized, and it's all eating resources. And when you start getting super big scene builds, having all those extra resources just running really can eat at your processing. Though if it's compiled in a map, normally it's a lot more efficient than if you load it up as a model, but still. So, but yeah, for like this. I know that there is some Resident Evil stuff. I swear I've seen like Leon and some of the old, like 2 and 3 characters. I'm not sure about past then, but I know that there is some Resident Evil stuff out there. Usually, if there's a game out there for it, somebody has ported some resources from it. Like you get Overwatch a lot because there's port anything that's popular at the time. Okay. I still have to render that scene out. It broke last time, so I couldn't, or it broke before I got to that render, so I'm not even sure. Anyway, so we were still working on these last time. I think actually we were redoing some of the lighting on this one. Did it crash or something? I can't remember. Yeah, because those mountains don't look final. Yeah, and I had placed another mountain. I had readjusted this, so yeah, this one crashed and I lost some stuff. Yeah, actually doing it like that works if you position it all in like the void and then put it in a map for keeping your frame rates higher before you render. Whatever works. Somebody locked up already. Memory's not high enough. I'm not gonna bother. I haven't done anything. The mountains I got probably within my first month of doing SFM, so I can't be 100% sure as to where. It was a winter type map. It was like a mountain lodge or a winter ski something. I can't remember. It was, but it came with the model came with the map, and I didn't even know it came with it until like a year after I downloaded it because it just happened to pop up when I searched mountain. And but I have no idea where they came from anymore, so I wouldn't be able to help too much with that. Move unsubscribed. I didn't unsubscribe from anything. Okay. Steam is down. Okay, that makes sense. Like, say, if I would have accidentally hit yes there, and it did remove that stuff, I use a lot of stuff in Workshop. That would be a hassle to try to get back again. Okay, so the main problem I have right now is these mountains don't feel... They feel close, they don't feel far, and that's what I need to try to get situated. Or at least, they don't feel as detailed as a mountain like that should be. So we need to fix that. So I think my main things I can do are increase the camera's aperture, because then that would technically just blur them out, or use fog, and fog is usually my preferred method. So I have the fog kind of coming up there as the horizon glow, which is fine. But now we need to take that same light. What's the haze going over? Okay, that's covering the whole sky. I don't want that then. I want this one. Yes, I render things in image sequence. If the saying that you don't have to do it anymore implies that they've updated it recently, which has not happened. SFM uses a pretty poor MP4 codec, so when you convert, or if you go direct to video, I wonder if I have a example. I know I did something recently with that. No. I know I did a test of something not long ago, and I did it direct to video, and it was absolutely crappy. And I'm not gonna remember where it was. But the reason that going to image sequence is good is because, well, you have to use another kind of software to compile the pictures together. It's essentially lossless. I say essentially because you don't have keyframes in the video. It's not a compressed video file, so each frame is unique. That makes it so it's a lot larger file. But if you need to do any type of editing or color corrections, it's going to look way better. And then you don't have to compress it, then edit it, and then compress it again. You're just going to end up with a crappier product. The longer you can stay lossless, the better. And by lossless, I just mean lack of compression. The reason I'm saying it's not 100% lossless is because usually you're exporting as a PNG, which is in itself a compressed file, a really high quality one, but technically it would be like, then there's a different one you can export that has a much higher quality, but the file size is enormous and a lot of stuff doesn't read it. So I just do everything as PNG image sequences because I can do all the editing I need to make it work, and I have access to each frame individually. And when you start doing things like I did, I was all animating a waveform on a Pitbook, and so I had 9 different renders, and I was grabbing different frames at different levels to make it look like it was animated. That wouldn't have been possible with a video file. Yeah, so I use After Effects for compiling all my stuff. So when you go to make an image sequence, you can just tell it to separate the audio. You get a wave file, which is like when I did the full render of this. So I got all my images. So this is again what so then you get nice sharp images for each one. And then you get the WAV file as a separate one. Do know that it will not work. The audio won't render if you have yourself muted. I forget that about 3/4 of the time. So, and if you tell it to export as just audio as a WAV file, it doesn't export correctly. And if you have no connecting audio, even then it doesn't always work out well. So I usually have to re-render the entire video, but I just put it at like 480p with no lights on, just to make so that it goes quick. But yeah, if you're looking to make the best quality video you will need to export it using some image sequences and compile it elsewhere. Oh, the lights and stuff? What you're probably seeing is this. So you have to enable the ability to have the scene hierarchy. So under either the gear here, or if you right click on the background where there's nothing visible, so there's right here, you can just go to show scene hierarchy, and by doing that, SFM will automatically create groups for cameras and lights. I think those are the only two. Just kind of being sultry here. And anything else beyond that you need to make a group for, but it's pretty easy. You can either select one or multiple. You just right click and say group selected, and it just makes a group called group 1. Then you right click and rename. And you can keep making groups within groups within groups if you want. So you can select a group here and just say group, and it makes all those there. So. Well, yeah, I do the I mute, like right now I have this muted when I'm working on it, but when you go to render, you have to make sure that you unmute it, because if you don't, it will play it through muted and therefore not render any audio. So you can keep it muted when you're working on it, but when you actually go to do the render, just make sure you unmute. And it doesn't really increase the amount of time to have the audio rendered or done with it. It's only a couple seconds compared to how long the video goes. Even sometimes I've left off, or I put the audio in here as a base, but I needed to do some kind of fade thing or control better the timing. So I purposely left it out of the render so that I could add it in myself afterwards. I just kept it in here so that I had some kind of idea as to what I was dealing with. Any tips to do better lighting? A lot of the tips for lighting are going to be from the tutorials I made. I haven't really changed them since, and a lot of them are situational. So, and also it comes down to character lighting versus scene lighting, and utilizing the limitation, or working within the limitations that SFM has, because it's a game engine. So if you want to make something look nice and cool like Blender or something, you're going to have to create a lot of extra lights to fill in the gaps that SFM won't be able to make. But hello, Farrell. But yeah, the main thing is for lighting, look at drawings or some things that people have done for a similar situation that you're trying to do. Just browse it online and look into detail of how they do edges and how they make the backgrounds and how they do everything, and get an idea in your head of what it should look like. Because you could look in your head and say it's a beautiful sunset. There's so much more detail to it than just beautiful sunset. You have to really know some of the little bits of how things work, and by looking at pictures critically, or real sunsets. But even real sunsets are usually not, when you're trying to make it in something like this, you want to go overboard, and you don't want to do real. You want to make it extreme in that regard. But just look at how other people have done things and use them as an example and kind of like, I guess, research material. Okay, let's do this one. So I'm trying to create like a low fog. This one I need to get up high enough. Where is this cutoff? Okay, it's there, so it's... Okay, I see it. Oh, I know what it is. Okay. It's not going line enough. Ah! I'll do 1500. And really pump up that volumetric intensity. Where's my min? Oh god. Okay, I don't mind the max going too far. I just can't. I don't want to go too far, because otherwise I'm just using up precious space for quality. So yeah, do that. So this blue range shows where the maximum volumetric light is, and then this is where it's gone completely. So I'm kind of just utilizing that as a nice fade range. See, that works. One thing I don't like about it is it kind of blends it in with the sky a bit. I'm not going to complain on that. Because it does help the ground here. If anything, I kind of want to put some kind of hill down here within the fog that's darker, so that it gives this feeling of depth. So let's shrink down. I want these to be smaller mountains. I'll use these ones. Too close to the originals. Pull them a bit closer. That actually could work. This one's a little dark though on that side. The volumetric doesn't reach far enough. Yeah. Oh wow. My phone's plugged in for 40 minutes. It goes from dead to full charge. What the hell? I love my phone. Okay, now that good. See, that's what I was looking for. So it creates this nice fog for the mountains, but now this fog, these come up and they're darker and have contrast to the background, but they're still within kind of that foggy feel. That's what I wanted to get. Now here, when I go to this shot, actually I don't even think it's going to matter. This is going to be the fade time anyway. If I had to guess on the fade, it's probably going to be from like here to here. So about a half a second. We're just going to fade between the the moon shot and the door shot. It does kind of look eerie, but the way I see it is the main focuses here. I should get rid of this. I think it's always a good idea to pinpoint what thing's going to be the biggest focus in your shot, because then that should be where everything should try to focus people to look at. So in this case, when it starts, I know my focus, moon. But when this fades off, once it gets to about here, the moon's still kind of focused because of the bright shot, but she's going to come into this shot, and even though she's blurred, she is now technically the focus. So that's why it's within a short time after that then I bring in the focus. So in essence, trying to simulate that you're changing focus, and the camera is too. And once she becomes the focus, I need to make sure that her contrast against the background is enough that she's not going to blend into it in any way or cause confusion as to where her edges are, and that any edges she have are not too excessively parallel or matching up with other lines. It's a lot. But like in this case, her head is clearing the mountains here within a good amount of space, so that it's not looking like this. The mountain itself is almost framing her head, and it's creating this weird situation where it's like you're almost seeing it like a hat or something. So we don't want to have that. We don't want to have these lines that are in essence parallel to her features. And so what I did by this is I'm crossing, so this line's going through and going and is out of there, so she feels separated from the background. Her edges are colored brightly, so that's why I use a lot of rim on both sides, because for one, it creates a cartoonish look, and two, it pulls her away. Her tail down here blends in a little bit, but that's fine. That's not really what I'm focused on. I really want to get her, and she feels separated and unique and on her own in that shot, but still fits in it, so that's why I'm okay with that. And all the way until she comes around to here. And then really from like here, there's really not much I can say about that because it's really separated too. But I mean, if you really wanted to get into detail for some of this stuff, for like Cold Canter here, I made sure that his head wasn't anywhere near the rocks. Here, I could say that there's an issue being that the rocks come to him, stop, and then aren't passed. So it kind of gives this weird feeling that he is the end of a rock bit. There's a little bit by the foot there, but probably gonna leave it. I might move him a little bit to the right to get him more into the rocks, or drop some of the rocks down. Get rid of that rainbow thing because it really didn't look that good on render. But yeah, there's a lot to character positioning and making sure that they're not just a focus, but they're the absolute best focus, and you're ensuring that you are the one controlling what people are looking at. How do you know when the self-illumine that's on the moon is working? When I tried adding it on, or else it's not working correctly. Yes, some models don't work with the self-illuminate, and I don't even know if I have it on for this. Okay, yeah, it is. Probably should put this up here. I know that when I was looking into, and actually we can test this because I'm curious if this is actually the issue that's causing it. I'm trying to remember a model that self-illuminate didn't work on. If you know one that's a common model, let me know. Because when we were looking at the self-illum properties, I came about that. This one, not that one. Self-illum mask that A dedicated mask feature. It says might not work in episode 1, but in this it says source 207 must use this. So it means that certain models might be that you can't add self-illumination unless you've added a mask as well. Which a mask is just saying what part's light, what part not to. That's easy. If you want to have everything light, you just add a white 2x2 texture to it and as a mask, and voila, you're good. But I'm kind of curious as to if that will fix some of the issues. So if you do know of one offhand that doesn't work for self-illumination, yeah, let me know. Or if you have one that's not a public thing, try just adding a 2x2, or it doesn't really matter the size. 2x2 is just small and square, white texture, pure white, and just make it as the mask, and see if that helps. So if I run across another, I really like her turn. If you know of or if you let me know if it works if you do try it. I'll keep it as it is, but so okay, so for this background, is there anything I could still do? It's weird that these are all the same cloud model, but for some reason it just doesn't feel like the same model. Like every time I look at it, I have to really think about it. So I'm not even know what's changing. How to highlight more parts on SFM than the on like the leg. Oh, do you mean like do you mean in how it separates things like this, or in highlights like the coloration for legs, or oh, okay, then that worked. And actually, the reason like my organization structure is a little different. A lot of the other ones don't have pony body. They have that all just under the main pony. The reason I separated it is because sometimes I take pieces of another model and I mix it into this one, and I don't want to look at all these extra bones that are not needed all the time. So I wanted to be able to disable certain things. And so, like, say on Rainbow Dash here, and I think I'll do it here because it would be useful. Right now it has open and closed wings. So if I'm looking at Rainbow Dash here, and I hold control, though I should probably, oh yeah, okay. When you hold control, you can see that there's just a crap load of bones, and I don't want to have to look at all those. So you can hit these little button here, and you can disable that. So I disable the jiggles, and I could say that I don't want to look at the pony legs either, so that'll get rid of the leg bones. And so it can help me focus on what I actually want to deal to look at. But it used to be that if I wanted to focus on the wings, this is the best I could do. So even though I'm now on the wings, pony body was still, or all the other bones would have still been there, and I would have had them to deal with. By creating that extra group, it allowed me to technically disable that, and now I can only see the wings. That was the main reason that I did it, is so that I can help narrow down what I wanted. Plus, if I was bringing in other pieces to a model, I could, like in here, since I'm not using the closed wings, I can literally hide them, and then they're gone. Like they're there, but I don't have to worry about clicking to be visible or not. Because if I click this and click, or I think it's this one. I did do for this, but for some of the other ones, if you click that or go back and forth between it, it'll re-enable all of them, and I don't want that. So having the ability to either hide or turn off or disable them comes in handy. So I move them all into the pony body group, and hence have a pony body group. I've thought about making like a hair group, because I mean really, and this right there is hair, which is over half of this anyway. And if you go to like I think the Equestria Girls models, I think it's UQG. Go Twilight. On this one, when I organized these, I did make a hair group because these had way too many hair models or hair bones. But it's Twilight. Whoa. She cometh. Oh. Vash is looking at the moon. She's like, ooh. And then she rises raw. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'm working on a video, but the point of the stream is to help people, so answer questions when they pop up. Okay, I need to make sure to light that element like it is in the other one. I don't know if it is set to do that here. Oh, it is. Oh, no, it's on a color, not self-illuminated, so it still needs light hitting it to actually light up like that. But that's fine, because I don't... It's going to be fading throughout this whole time right here. By the time it gets around to that point, it's going to be transferred or bright enough. What were we like when you first started using FM? Like the first thing you ever did? The first thing I ever did in SFM is... I don't even know why I keep it our Pony SFM because it really doesn't make any sense being there. Thought I had it under extra. Because I didn't consider it to... No, I might have. There it is. This is the first thing I ever made. I did this before a picture or anything because I didn't even think about doing pictures. I just thought about animating. And this is actually the map that I got the mountains from. So that was the first thing I ever did in SFM. And that took me like an entire Saturday. And it's so janky. I'm just thinking about back how I was using the engine. It was just horrendous. Like I had no idea what I was doing. But yeah, so I mean that's the first thing I've ever made, but then technically this was the first pony thing I made, which was the next thing I did. And these are actually using the old models too, so that's why the hair is not moving. This is the only one moving. The wings really had no controls either. That's using the old... I mean, look at her leg there, it's broken. So that was before Naka. But, I mean, that's really what I was like. And a lot of the stuff I was doing early on was playing around to learn. So, like, the point of this was it was making a video with a model that had no bones. So I didn't have to worry about anything but just moving it around the environment and learning the engine. And so I kept that simple. This one was a replication of a picture, so I had a base to go from. And it was simple because I had no interaction with surfaces. The second one I did was... I don't know if I ever made a video form of it. Or a second pony thing I did. This one. These are still the old models. That took me like an entire day and the weekend to... I think the lighting jumps... No, actually I did make that pretty good loop. Um, but this one allowed me to play. I just kept like adding to my knowledge of stuff. So like learning how to do the ears and stuff. So I started super simple. I mean, look at the ears. They're just. If I were to do it now, I do it so different. But I'm not looking back and they're saying it was crap. I'm looking back and saying that it's like, wow, I learned a lot. So, but I mean, within a couple months, I was doing. I don't know if I will have that. I don't think I have that. I guess I don't have all my preview gifts anymore. No, apparently I don't. But I mean, this was within that wrong one. This was within a couple, like I think about 9 months. I was able to do stuff like that. But even that was originally going to be a jog, and I failed so badly I just turned it into a goofy walk. Oh, this was actually within. Well, that's not actually what I was thinking of. There's a little head bounce thingy I did. Rainbow head bounce, I thought it was called. Yeah, here it is. I made that within the first couple months too. But even then, I went and upgraded that to this later on to show how much I've improved, and it looks a lot better. And even now, I'd make it different. Walk animations suck. Make your resources suck. Because you're spending a lot of time making something that's really, really short, but or not even useful in a general sense, or like not even useful in a specific sense. But it's nice because like having a run or something, like early on there was no resources for that, so having like when somebody, I think Takio had made a walk, and J-Re, I believe, had both made a walk, and I made a run and some flight ones. And that opened up a lot of doors for people because they were able to stop focusing on having like jerky animations and focus on by grabbing something that somebody else made and then just adding to it. And that's what people have been doing with TF2 for the longest time. So it's nice to be able to do that with Pony now too. But without the rig, it's kind of limited. Now see, the one thing I wish I could do here is have animated trees, but all these trees are not going to do that. They're not built for that. Nope. Most I can do is just have a tree kind of like go wobbly wobbly. Where's the tree? Yeah, I can do that, and that's not going to be the... That's fine. It's not enough time. Hello. Hello, Killchan. Yeah, actually the reason was that when I made that goofy walk, I posted it on... Let's see if I can find that. There's my old resources. Let's see here. Yeah, I made the goofy walk, and then I don't remember who it was, but somebody commented, and yeah, this is right here. I don't even. It looks like it doesn't even account anymore. I think it was this one. Yeah. He posted it like to that, and I was like, Pop Man, and I was like, yeah, you know what, that actually works really well, and so I made the video based on it. So it was it came afterwards. There is some animated trees, but a lot of these ones looked really good for what I needed them for, and if I do have them animated, it's hard to get the lighting to look right. A lot of these require multiple lights coming from different angles to make it look like it was coming in, like that the light looked right. But I really don't think it's going to matter because the camera moves so fast and they're so blurred. I don't think it's going to matter. I do want to have some more mountains back here that are blending into the distance. So I'm going to grab another mountain here. See these work, but now I have a freaking mountain light that has a stupid high radius. Yeah, these ones. I have to figure out which one is hitting the mountains in the back here. I have to keep it enabled here. So that one. Okay, so it's not any of those. So it is very much Run Rim 2. And this one is coming at the back, so I might actually be able to get rid of it through the min. Not really, actually. So is this one in front of me what it's hitting? Yes. Then I might be able to do it a different way. Okay, it still lights the bottom here, but that's fine because I can hide that. I just didn't want to make sure the mountains themselves were. Okay, so I'm going to grab this one I did here. This one's already Ubered. And so I need to make sure I see what angle I'm working with here. So I need to do it like this. Drop the height, increase the width. And then, just hit one. There you go. thing I probably want to add is something more over here, because this seems really empty. I don't even care about putting detail into it. I just want to make sure something's there. Bugging me. I don't even think this is going to be noticeable, but it's bugging me, so we're going to fix it. There. Now it doesn't look like a flat line. And even here, like, what if I got rid of the mountain's rim lights? It could actually work. I would just need to add a larger volumetric light, but I think it just looked too plain. So I think I'll keep it as it is. If anything, I'm just going to dumb this one down. Is it little effect? How you got that face with the sharp pointy teeth? Yes, though that's a little different. That was very messy. Hold on. I think. Oh, I need to do a little bit of animating to her body, but otherwise that shot's going to be basically done. Yeah, the scenery and the story was very well explained and brought up, so I wanted to make sure I put the time into it. That's actually the video's been taking the longest amount of time because of the scene builds. The actual animation itself is actually pretty simple, but well, 2 or 3 shots are complicated. The rest of it is fairly basic. It's just trying to build the scene to be unique and fit within some of the small nuances that are brought up in the story. So, talking about... Oh, let me get the... I think I did the void... Wait, okay, what seems a huge void? This is another multi-map one, so you're attacking with these parts. Some of these did work where, and I wish I would have had the current juice stand models, because I could have gotten a much better wicked smile than I can with the current models, where I had to really stretch them to their limits. I mean, that was the best I could do with the old ones, but now you can make so much better. But even then, these teeth aren't her teeth. It's what is was is das? Oh, it's not gonna let me go control, but whatever. So I grabbed the teeth. I believe this is from some of the Five Nights at Freddy's models to make these ones. And even then, when she goes to smile bigger, I had to increase the size of the teeth. You actually see them get bigger, because when her smile got bigger, her mouth didn't fit it. Right, so I had to do that. And then for like this angle, I had to, again, the teeth are not those ones. I had to really mess with it to make it look right. But even then, I wasn't happy with how it looked. Yeah, it was. I used a self-illumination on it, but they're not actually her teeth either. So, and I thought I did even something more than that. These glasses aren't working. That's why there's actually lights that were shining on her eyes to make them glow with the glasses, but the glasses aren't showing. Oh wait, no, they're not supposed to show. The glasses were disabled. They were instead. I'm using self-illumination. Oops. There we go. This is what it was supposed to look like, but without the added lights. That's what it looked like, and I didn't feel that had an expansive enough glow, so I added extra. So yeah, there is actually no goggles or glass rims, because it actually didn't look right. And then careful positioning of the lights to make it so that this entire scene was dark. Yeah, but yeah. So yeah, in essence, there it was the same. But yeah, when I went to this, then this. Oh yeah, that was why I had to save it, because when self-illumination was on, it lost its glow. So I had to turn it off. Or it lost its transparency, so I had to render it multiple times to make it work. Freaking creepy Fluttershy. Nightmares. Actually, it's even creepier when you do this, just because I had to black out her eyes. And the fact that there's an eyeball in her mouth. It's getting really weird. But the reason I had to black out her eye is because this. When I had them off, there was lights that still hit, and you could see her eye. I think it's her eye there, even. Oh yeah, there was another eye that was in the way on this side, and at the beginning of the shot, like the eye would show up, and you could actually see the slit of the line of the light went on the render. So I used blockers to just cut it, get rid of them completely, and then just eyeballs opening. Actually, I should have timed that better so they were opening more on time, but boom, particle broke. Little explosion. Little explosion. But yeah. And Pinky getting hit with cake because I didn't want to do any blood. So instead she got hit with cake that looked like poop. Oh, to do her eyes on this, because this is a similar thing to in terms of the self-elimination. Her eyes are no longer actually eyes. I modified the texture so that it was acting like a normal texture instead of an eye texture. Therefore, I could make it self-eliminate and everything, and so she has no pupil anymore. Her eyes are just the red. And then I just turned the self-illumination way up so that it created a cool effect. I really liked how that shot turned out in terms of the lighting and everything on her edges. Very cartoony. I actually originally wanted to read EOP, but a reason I never actually got around to it was it scared me that it was never going to be finished, so I decided to just not even bother. It's really hard when you get in a story like that and then it never finishes, but I won't complain because of what the being Australia is being written now, so no problems. EOP's End of Ponies. They'll probably answer before you even hear that. It was originally, I think, a Scootaloo fic that was similar to Australia. Similar, because it had definitely its own things, but I heard a lot of good things about it, and it was and I still might go back and read, but I think I might find a stopping point before the actual, or where it stopped being written, so that I can not feel weird just having it just suddenly end. Alright, so I'm just going to finish the animating for Rainbow on this part. So this harder. Okay, so what do I need to animate for her? I need some kind of wind effect on her mane and tail. Don't want to use this one because it's not best quality wind effect, but whatever. I need to put time into just making a really, really good wind effect for Dash or something, because I use her so damn much that I might as well make something that always works. So this is going to be wind. Yeah, this wind effect is shit compared to the stuff I've been doing. Okay, yeah, I don't want that. Oh, no, I know where to get it. I just need to go to a different part of this video. See, this is the one thing I didn't like about having it split. But what do you do? I'd rather have that than crashes. Yeah, that's much better looking. I'm gonna use this. No. Oh. Fixed. I'll just export this whole actually? Yeah, let's export the whole thing. No, I'm gonna do it the other way. I reorganized that I didn't save it. Sky car. Oh, yeah, I was going to use one, then I said fuck it. Because I don't want to load anything except her. I'll load the wings in too. The hair. Oh, damn it. Let's grab what I want. So grab wings, tail, hair, jiggle bones. And I'll leave out the butt. And the ear tab. I'll leave the ear tab, so I don't think there's any animation for it. And then... Oh, and... Here. Okay, the only problem I have with it right now is that the wind is technically blowing the opposite direction from what I would like it to. I might make it blow it the other way. I wonder if that'll work. Let's try it. Alright, so this is essentially just simple delayed motion. So I'm going to grab, let's just say these three. So it's going to be bam, bam. So if I look at it, this is peak right here. 2 peak is right here. And 3 peak is right here. So I'm looking at 3 frames moved each. So if I just take these and I go 1, 2, 3. Oh, yeah, I did grab both. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Dang, quite work out the way I wanted it to. I probably need to move these two. Actually, that could work. It's a general waving. I don't care. I just don't want it blowing in front of her, because then it's being in the way, and I don't want that. That'd be negative. So I'm going to take our hair, tail, ears, hair, back, and tail 1. I don't even care. I'm just gonna grab this part. There's probably some extra motion there. Who gives a shit? And I do the same thing. Select just those bones here. I'm going to be a little quicker. We're going to put them at the beginning. Okay. I'm looking at the wrong model. Okay, that should work. And you make sure that her mane here is not clipping. Okay, that should work. I'm also going to reduce the motion because it's a little excessive. Because of that change. Probably gonna stretch out the animation a bit. Without the trees blowing, this might be a little bit much. Yeah, look at that. Never actually did her wings. That's fine. I don't want to reposition them, so I'm going to grab just the wing tips. It's easier to grab all of them and deselect. Oh, I didn't actually select that from before. And this is because the wings did have kind of random motion added to them. I can just add the other random motion myself. There's no ear motion? I swore there was ear motion in there. supposed to be. Must not have selected it when I did this. Anytime you sorry. Anytime that you import animation to a model, it's going to import it to whatever bones you have selected. And the reason I always create a separate one is even though you can import a specific bone, it's going to redo the entire timeline. You can't tell it to only do parts. So that's why I usually load it on one that I'll make, and that's what the naming convention I have is where if I make something that I'll load an animation onto, I call it a base because I want something that's just the base. So like I'll load it in a walking and I'll retime it to whatever I need for my walk. But then that means that if I need to grab that same time to walk elsewhere, I can grab it from it again. But it's always going to override everything within that time frame. But it's only going to load it in for the bones you select. So that's why when I loaded it in, I deselect root transform because I don't want it flying off to wherever it's going to be on the map. And I select only the hair in here because that's all I cared about getting. I didn't want to add in that extra animation because it's just going to create a larger file size in the background, which is minor for one model. But if you start doing that a lot, you're going to start. I mean, I went and did cleanup, just a very, very quick cleanup on a different file once, and I have the file size by like 40 megabytes. That's faster autosaves, faster load times, less crashes. It's always a benefit. I mean, that's why all this stuff in the background here, all this right now is just wasted space, and it's eating up file size. Now, yeah, I'm going to show you right now. Let's just say that I don't really need this for anything else. Oh yeah, I'm fine. I thought I did a mistake there, but so let's look at our file size right now. Off topic, but I want to show it. So we're on P4_2. So I'm looking at 24.0252. So just over 24,000 kilobytes for a file size. I'm just going to take this one model and I'm just going to go in here and out here. I'm just saving a little bit more in case I want to grab something, but I'm probably not going to. Just doing that, I dropped it by 500 kilobytes, so 1/48. So 2% of my entire file size in just that animation. That's a lot. It's 2% doesn't sound like a lot, but you think that one model and just a couple seconds of their animation took up that much space. Yeah, that's why I usually will go through here and do cleanup afterwards. So if I would recommend, don't clear out stuff from the end of shots and before when you're still working on things, because you might go, I want to make this go faster, but now you can't because you've erased everything. But when you're getting towards the point, like for me, that's why I color the shots. So if I go into a shot in a green, I actually could go through these now and say, these ones are done, I can get rid of this extra animation. There's not much here, so I'm not worried about it. But like this one, here, look at all this stuff. So let's do that on this one, just to show. So whatever, again, 23,560. This shot is technically done. I don't think it's going to be running this in the background. Oh yeah, 23,560. Yeah, to 22.5. I saved a whole megabyte just on clearing that out. And it didn't affect the shot in any way. It's exactly the same as it was before. Except for now I have a lot faster processing on everything. So yeah, once you know a shot is done, like you're not going to touch it anymore, or at least if you are, it's going to be minor stuff. Clean it up. Another thing you can do too is like for instance, I'm going to go to a this is probably going to be the better shot. Yeah. So look at my processing in this shot. When I'm moving around the camera, even with the lights on, I'm getting like just 3.5 frames per second. That's kind of crap. But you could think like, well, before I render it, I just have to turn stuff off. Okay, I turn off the buildings. I'm still running at a little bit better, but at like 5 frames something per second. It doesn't matter if I'm looking at the models or not. They are still being processed in the background there. So if your shot, say you have this big scene build in the background here, but your shot is only over here, so it's not even dealing with those models at all. Even though they're not visible, you're still eating processing for it, and it's going to increase your render times because this is what it has to deal with. But if I go and delete those models that aren't visible, oh, look at that. Now my frames are like 3 times higher. I recommend, once your shots are done, anything that's not visible and you can delete, get rid of it, hide it, or not just hide it, but actually remove it and delete it. If you have a, I think for the Leaving the Stable video, I had a, for a long time, the video, a shot at the very end that was the entire scene build for the entire video, just saved for in case I needed to grab something, but it otherwise every shot deleted everything that wasn't visible, and it made it so that almost every shot only had 5 to 6 models in it. The render time on it for a 4K video were immensely low, but it took me like a couple hours to go through and clean all this, but I don't regret it because it made it so that working and doing everything afterwards was so much easier. So it's, even if you can't see it on the camera, or if you have it hidden and hidden from view, it's still being processed. So I do recommend going and cleaning that stuff up, but only once you know you aren't going to change anything, because I made that mistake way too many times. But that's also why I like doing scene build stuff, because I can just focus on what's in front of the camera instead of what's on the sides and having a whole map in the background being loaded that doesn't have a purpose. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these, because I got a lot of shots here, so yeah, there's Axe and, oops, oh, I guess that's the mute button. I didn't really have any other dragon models to use, so I used Skyrim. This is Sylvedel. This is the very end of the book, because then I have the green book too. Though that's the only green book I could use, because I didn't have any resources for anything else that looked, I think, more accurate. But I decided to go with that. But I really like this shot. Yeah, before importing, just deselect the root transform. Yeah, I've been following the Australia book for a long time. Like, I've been reading since book 2 or 3. I think it was like 3 to 4 years ago I started reading it. And I've caught up 3 times now. I usually catch up and then just kind of ignore it. And there is a broken particle effect there. It's kind of doing like an 80s thing. That's cool. I probably should fix that beforehand. This one's considered done, but I do want to go back and play with it more. I never did a render, but I do like my dragon over here. Dragon. With his broken legs, because I don't care. But yeah, I have everything planned out for this video. I mean, actually, you haven't seen this stuff, so I can show you what I have done. There's certain things that I'm trying to still figure out. Any of the blue shots here are ones that aren't even started yet. So like these shots need to have characters spinning around. I haven't figured out what I want to use for Sam Rose's hair, so right now I just have a placeholder. But I haven't figured out the idea that I have for the hair. I can't find one that works, so I've just kind of been like, whatever. This one is Cold Canter over the canyon. This is Gold Petals. This is my interpretation of Steel. I have no idea how to make him otherwise, so I just said fuck it and just made that. these two shots I have to have things happen, two characters, but I don't know what to do. Right now I have Rainbow doing whatever that is that Rainbow does. It's from... let me see here. Because you might be able to help me out, Tom. The main thing I can't do is I can't do Minotaurs, which are even though they're a big part of the story, I technically can't utilize them because they're not... no, I didn't read the side story with it. Where is this? I think that's it. Yeah. I can't do Minotaurs, which sucks. I'm actually going to still kind of do the Chaos Creatures, but that's going to be difficult. No, at the end here is these shots, and this is kind of what I'm replicating. So, and that's what I'm working on doing right now, but I don't know who I want to put in those shots, because this is for end of story characters, and mid-story, but I don't know who I want to put here. I'm thinking about doing, I keep wanting to say Mortuana, but it's not, Whitemane in this one for this, because I thought that would work for her, but I'm not sure. Yeah, because in terms of like this music, that's the door opening thing. That was my interpretation of it. A lot of this is my interpretation because I was restricted based on what's available. I have one with Whitemane already, but also Whitemane is basically just a recolored Celestia because I can't figure out a good main to use with her otherwise. Yeah, she would normally be in pain, and that's kind of what I wanted to do, but I needed her to look up quick, and that's going to be the best I can do. So, like, this is how it starts, which is based on how this starts, which is just doing a zoom in. I had to figure out what I want to do for a title, and then I just do a slow zoom out. I wonder if we can play both these at the same time. Oh, no, it's not going to work because I have the split video over mountains, and that's kind of what happens here. And then I could put a title card. These mountains that's broken right now, the lighting, because this isn't working in the distance. The sky card's disappeared. I gotta fix that. And I'm gonna probably make her fly away there. And then I took the cabin shot because in the actual anime, they have him in his little cabin thing. So I was utilizing the cabin shot. But oh yeah, I forgot. Hold on, I gotta get rid of Taco Pony. There's Rainbow. But this lighting is broken because I'm trying to figure out why the volumetrics aren't blending correctly. I like that shot though. And then that's the end of that one. No, don't search. We have some goofy things. There's a random crap just saved in here and stuff. This is probably the most elaborate scene build I have. Once it loads. Sylvedel, the only problem I had with Sylvedel is that a lot of the shots required being out in the open, which doesn't make any sense for Sylvedel because they should be hiding underground, which I have a feeling I get flacked for, but I really don't care because whatever. And this is supposed to replicate this shot right here. And then walking up, and then so that's. Oh yeah, I probably should have an ember. I just put her in armor because it felt weird when she was naked. And then I have Sam Rose and whatever armor I could figure out to work. I really like this shot. And then I was trying to figure out because there's some the little girl playing. And I couldn't figure out what to do with the little girl playing, so I ended up doing the soccer shot from after Wind throw. That's what that's going to be. This one's I haven't really done yet though. And I tried a scene build though, not liking that at all. So I'm going to probably redo that a bit. Because this is where Rainbow Dash is on the roof looking at them while they're playing soccer. And then there's White Mane. And then Zap. I split it into 4 parts because it was crashing. it was not handling the excessive amount of crap I was giving it. And then this is because at this part is when this goes on. And that's when the action stuff kicks in, but I haven't actually done that yet, and that's going to be this part. So what it's going to be is originally I was trying to build something related to wind throw, but I'm going to change the angle of this shot because I did not like it in relation to how the action continued at this part. This is actually going to have her eyes fade. This is going to have, I think, since she's coming from this side, I'm going to have her actually coming into the shot and kind of take over the facial position that this is in. And have the camera spin around her at a 180. I have a kind of chaos creature thing. I'm not sure. Yeah, I wasn't sure. This is what I came up with, just mixing some stuff from Dota. Where are you? But that's about the best I was able to come up with. But I felt like if I couldn't put the Minotaurs, I was at least going to make them. But I thought they kind of worked. I just have to like get rid of the whatever the hell's on their face and stuff. Okay, you think that's good? Okay, good. Originally, the idea that I had for him was like, "Oh, this will work," and then I actually read the story again. I'm like, "Oh crap, that's not even near what it actually is." I had a completely wrong interpretation. So, we have a local book club, and that me and one of my other buddies, I got him into reading it. I don't think he's here. No, he's not. He's almost caught up with Utah right now, and we did it. We have the local book club. And we got everybody to read Australia there too. So I got to read it a second time, so I could actually get this aired out. But the idea is to have the monster thingy, and then after that part, I needed something that was on a fast-paced thing like this. So I decided to do Sam Rose falling over Silverdale when Rainbow lets him go, and so I'm just gonna have him killing dragons on the way down. So that's why I have a lot of these shots here with Silverdale, because I kept those from the other save files so that I could potentially use some stuff. But then the replication of this shot for this one was the one with Zap. And no, the blades aren't hitting her wings. I was specifically making it so that she was knocking him to the side. But I'm feeling I really want to play with the camera a bit more on a lot of these, because I feel like some of the camera work is not anime enough. Like even here, I didn't like how a lot of this works. Like I think I'm gonna slow down this transition because I felt like it was way too quick. Dude, Zab was an ass, like, to work with, to make everything work, and I'm still not happy with some of it, but I think I'm not gonna care enough. And then Duke Zap is the only one that I'm actually happy with in terms of like trying to get accurate. Like Steel Teeth, I didn't really like, but I'm like, how the hell do I make it otherwise? So I just mashed them together. But then this part, I needed to find, where is my Again. There we are. In the actual anime, they had a orb in the sky, and then this backup shot, and so I decided to blend them together. So when Moon, because that's Moon, and then have it this backup shot, and this is going to be a fade between these two. So they're essentially the same. And then having the door implied. But I didn't want to give spoilers, so I didn't want to show anything inside the door, and I was also careful on what I showed in Sylvedel. And even this, I don't think the door is actually that high, but fuck it. Or there's not even light coming from the door technically, but fuck it. Yeah, the trench coat for animation. The trench coat actually was kind of fun to mess with. Like when his I don't want to open the file, but I can open up something that works for it. Like I actually made these into GIFs yesterday because the chat asked for it. So, guy, pretty. Looks like kind of like an inverse headbang. I do say fuck it a lot. This one, no, like making this the wind blow. That was, I think, like the coolest thing to be able to do because it adds so much to the character, and I love that. So, well, it sucked animating it. The amount of detail that cloak gives to him is just absolutely amazing. I might play with it a little bit more because I'm noticing that his front is like moving straight without turning. So the walk isn't manipulating that very much when I feel like with the legs it should have a wobble to it. But again, everything will be went through again. But I love this scene build. This scene build I was so proud of. Anyways. This video has been challenging me on scene builds to no end. Because every one of these is just some elaborate thing. With like crap loads of cloud models and blowing trees. Hello, Erdic. It is the captain. It's the captain. Okay, so I did her ears, right? Yes. Yeah. So how this is structured right now is that these bookmarks are hard cuts, except for here a little different. And I use the words fade right and fade left to determine where I need a fade. That's why, like, between these two there's a fade. But I don't know. I don't want to restrict myself to where the fades start and end, so I'm building each shot to cover the entire area of both, and then I'm going to render them separate, and then I can choose where I want to have the fades instead of being restricted and then finding it doesn't work. So that's why I have it set up that way. So in here, I just have to copy Rainbow Dash every time back and forth, or if I modify the camera, I have to make sure that moves back and forth between the two shots. And then in post, as long as they're both have the same camera motion and something in the shot is the same and doesn't change, you can render it twice, overlay them in your picture game. But yeah, this shot was like I want to use the fade stay as a base, but originally when I made Chemistry, the one for Full Metal, that one I made 1:1 because I wanted to learn how anime kind of did their thing when actually like implementing, and I learned a lot in doing that because I did that way because I wanted to make an anime type that I could branch off and kind of do my own thing with. And so that's what this is, where I'm using it as a base, but then when I come into situations where it really doesn't work, I can just go my own direction with it, but I have a better idea as to what would work in it, and still not like break the pacing or something. Okay, I don't think I have to animate her at all here, because with all the other stuff that's moving, it makes her alive enough. So I'm actually going to call this one, I think, good. I love being able to do this. Green. Love seeing that. I'm trying to get like this one kind of done because I want to be able to start rendering things because I want to have this done for BronyCon, which is in 2 months. I don't think it's gonna happen. I'm gonna get as close as I can anyway. When actually, one of the reasons that I really like this song was, and I originally wasn't gonna put Zap where I did with him walking forward. I was originally wanting to do something with Rainbow because in the song, and this is the reason that I love this English version. One, because the Japanese version, while it actually works better for this, is a copyright strike. So I don't. Somebody else that had it on a video had it taken down, and when I had it, it got my video muted for a stream. So I was like, "Yep, can't do that." No, but at this part, the lyrics, you can see the text on there. The fact that it says "I can face the morning sun" for East Horse, I thought was like brilliantly lyricked. So originally I wanted to do it where it showed her actually like going and looking towards the sunset, but if I did that, then the following shot of her looking up with the red eyes would be a weird continuation from her doing Grim Dash Rainbow Dash right away, and I can't do that. I have to split it. So I ended up just leaving with that, but the lyrics are perfect, and I was like, that's awesome. So I'm not complaining on that. But also I love this song, so that's why. Alright, I should probably finish Gold Petals here. For some reason, the wheat does not work. Every time I load it again, the wheat breaks because the wheat is stupid. So fuck the wheat. I think the only thing I needed to worry about with her was ear motion, which, fuck this, I'm stealing hers. Like anybody's gonna look at this and go, oh, that's Rainbow Dash's ear movement. Give it back. Oh, except for your ears are broken. When I had originally started this video too, back before I had really gotten into started anything with it, my original intent was to make, I wanted to cover main sequences from the entire book series up to that point. I dropped the scope down to book 1, but originally, because of that, I had this, which originally was with the Green Dragon, which was supposed to be with Nevlama's. I don't even know if I say that right. But then I changed it to red to potentially use it for this, and then I decided that it wasn't going to work at all, and so I just passed. So I said I released this on DA and said I'm not going to use that. But no, I wouldn't be able to do that because there's too many resources. The main two reasons that I never did anything other in the story past book 1 was the noble jury, or the actual ship itself. Having that in SFM would be immensely hard to do, and work. Those are the two. And if it wasn't for those two, I would have potentially, done. Oh, and oh god, it's been so long. Moose Man. Glimmer, Glimmer, Shimmer. That really bugs me that I can't remember his name now. Whatever. Vladian. Okay, because I love his name. I love his name. But yeah, the fact that I tried to find some kind of a moose figure or something to use, but I never had any luck. So I just decided, I'm like, this isn't worth it. I'm not gonna. I have to limit my scope. So I did this instead. Yeah, Astria is the very first book for the series. And even then, I don't consider it the best of the series. I think it's definitely a really nice intro to the book series itself, but to me, really, with how a lot of the stuff that's happened in the last book, Eton's probably my favorite so far, though I might just be biased because it's the last one I read. Well, this works. I want to try some stuff here. Okay, so the camera right now is just shifting from left to right. If I really do anything more, it's going to break the wheat. Actually, I wonder. Wow, I actually animated. I made that exactly the same speed. I just want to add a little bit of motion, kind of like I did with the large... because what this is doing right now is it feels like she's moving at the same speed with the camera, which it puts everything, and it feels like her distance is the actual distance between you and her right now. Oops. So what I do is add in just a little bit of counter motion on her, and it gives the feeling that she's further away. And I kind of actually like that more. It's very, very minor difference, but you can see that she's sliding across the ground here more instead of here, or you can actually see she's just literally following the camera, but then that she's actually lagging behind the camera a little bit. And if the camera were doing that, it would be, I could even still add in a little bit of rotation to her as well. Don't crash. There's something in this shot or in the one afterwards that causes me to crash. It can render through it mostly fine, but it will crash me. The thing is most of the models I'm using are just retextures. Aren't really. None of the stuff I have is actually custom models. Everything is just repurposes of something else. Like the eye texture here, that's Discord, or it's Discord's eye with a larger pupil and an eye slit. Because if you just do the pupil, it looked really fucked up and like a cartoon, like goofy. So I needed to have a slit, otherwise it just didn't work. The bag is just a recolor of the bag that exists. The element already exists public for anybody. Her, that's just who is this? I believe this is Velvet. Yeah, this is Velvet Remedy. Literally her model just retextured. So I can't really make that. What's hiatus? Ah. Oh yeah, cool. Good. I'll definitely. Let me. That. All right. I can't really make that a download unless I just gave people the textures. And even then, like, I didn't know what Gold Petals Cutie Mark is. I had to guess. There was another, it said something about a flower. I remember that. So this is just something that I threw on there to make sense with it. Ember's another one that it doesn't even say what her eye color is. Yellow just looked right. Her hair was just kind of a guess, and this is again the same hair as Gold Petals, just retextured to be red instead. But no, I didn't know what Ember's was going to be, so I made a flaming piece of paper. I had no idea. I have Sam Rose. I don't think they even tell me what his is, but his is a little easier because I can just kind of do something kingly. The one for Cold Canter, they don't say either, but since he was a guard, I just gave him a shield and some swords. I don't know what those are, so I've just been making something that works for me. But the one thing, if you can think of anybody, because for what I have right now, I'm trying to use characters that are significant enough to deserve it, so I don't want to go too deep with it. But I need 2 characters to fit these 2 slots, and I'm thinking I'm going to use White Mane for this. But this was the one I'm not sure of. I thought about using Iron something. It's too long ago that I read it to remember. Gold Petals father figure, and I want a here, but I'm not sure. He knows I'm working on it. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I need to check on some things. Like, does it even matter what the eye color is for Ember? That kind of stuff. Because otherwise, I don't know. I don't want to be wrong, or that I missed details on it. So, trying to think of the other details that I need ironed out. Ow. This is another tough one of, I wanted to make a sunrise coming up, but in the story, technically she's looking west, not east, so I had to have the sun rising, but not showing being risen, so I had to kind of show it off to the side. I did pay attention to details when I could. That's why I have, originally I was trying to figure out stuff with the dragon, so that's why I have Randall's speaker as my shortcut on my bar here. And even if I don't make it a pack, if anybody wants, and really, I usually go off the concept that if I've finished it and it's been released, if somebody wants something specific, it's free. I'll give it away, no problem. It's a little bit harder. I will never give a save file out. Not that I don't want people re-rendering something that I've been working on, but because it takes a lot of time to try to get something to figure out all the different retextures and everything I've done. If they were to load up the save file, it would not look the same. It's so unique to my computer. So yeah. But yeah, if you want a texture for somebody afterwards, really, this is just this is like a 5-minute retexture. It really wasn't that bad. And actually, I was kind of trying to keep her face hidden in this because I felt like it was like I didn't want to have her as a direct character. It was like kind of a weird thing. That's why I have her kind of looking towards the sunrise as if she had Dash had just flown away, kind of a thing, and just left it at that. So yeah, I was working on the shot. Did I freeze it? Stupid Gold Petals. The Hall of Elements is going to be, I don't even know if I'm going to ever finish that. The reason I've never done that one for release is because it is, I'm not sure how much of the stuff that's in the map itself is unique to my situation. I have to bring the map into my laptop, but now that I've moved that stuff there for the purpose of conventions, it already has the entire remembrance save file, so I'd have to delete everything that's on there to start fresh. If it's everything compacted into the save file for the map, it's not as bad. But there's reasons. Let's look at why I don't want to do that. For one, there is about 183 versions of this map. The reason is, I know that a lot of people are going to be looking at the video and saying, that's really pretty, I want to use it because of all the pretty. This is what it looks like. I mean, this is not anything of what the video looked like in terms of lighting. This is just what the engine gave for lighting. So if people want something to be super pretty with the going by the hallways and these beautiful outsides and these beautiful light streaming in, they're not going to get it. And I am pretty sure that if I were to release it as it is, I would have to either pre-create lighting for people, or they would have to deal with it as it is. And I feel like the fact that there's nothing outside, the fact that it's all like just a bunch of mishmash up here, because I had no idea what I was doing in a Hammer. Even this, like, this ceiling isn't even visible in the damn video. I put all this time into it and then I never used it. This, you can't go much further than outside the window before it just breaks. It didn't even like look out the window here and it's all broken. I can make all the models come with it, or like here, this is a hole and I had to plug it. I couldn't figure out how to get rid of it. There's another one over here. And there's a broken thing right there I couldn't get rid of. There's just a lot of problems with this map, and I had to build the scenes around it. So yeah, that's the reason I've never released it, is because I really don't want to deal with all the bullcrap that I know that's going to come from it, of how do I make it look like your video. So that's, yeah, so sorry. I do want to, you know what, hell, okay, what we're going to do right now, I'm going to give you guys the file, and you are going to tell me if you load it up, what happens. How about that? Does that work for you? Because like, really, because then you're doing the testing for me. I hope you awake. Here we go. Is it VMF? I don't know. Tree testing was a different render, so I don't want to do that one. BSP, that's what I need. See, the size implies that it's final, so all right. Yeah, I mean, it's my main thing is I want to make sure that it loads and that all the textures are showing, so that it is basically an all-encompassing file. If that can be confirmed, then all I would have to do is render specific scenes for the people. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say copy Dropbox link. I'm gonna post it for you guys. And then I'm also gonna put it right here. So, well, here, you know what? I'm gonna put it. All right, it's because I know there's going to be people on the stream that are going to be like, so that's the link to it. Good luck trying to figure that out. And so if you want to type that in by hand, so that anybody that's on the stream watching later that wants to download it, I have my Dropbox situated in such a way that everything that I put, anything I share within a small group, I put in shared. Anything that's going public in such a way that I have no control of the link after it's out there, I put in public shared, meaning that anything in this folder I am not allowed to touch. So anything I put in there should never be deleted unless my Dropbox goes down. So that link should be permanent. So yeah. So yeah, just let me know if, and like it should. There's going to be issues with like the ceiling things here and whatever, and there's going to be some problems, but if it just loads in to where you can see the flags, and even then the flags technically, these are black and they should be gold. And all that, but yeah, if it loads in fine, then that's test 1 done. Yeah, I might have lagged when I was uploading that because I'm actually uploading 30 megabytes while streaming. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. So yeah, just let me know if this works as it is. If that's the case, then all I have to do is pre-build some lighting sequences. Because I want to have it set up where I can take some of the lighting from Remembrance, put it in here so people see how I did it. And because the lighting, I don't have to worry about the lights. That can go with whatever. That's not. It's easy to do. Models are a little harder, but I will include like the window models, the door. Though I think Griffin put the door out once before. So, yeah, we'll figure that out. But the I'm trying to think if there's anything weird with this hall. This hall was meant to be viewed only from within this hall, down this way, and in here up to about, and only at a low angle. Is there some errors? Yes. See, I was pretty sure that some of the textures would be linking to places within my drive, and if that's the case, anything that I had in there, I have to go and find out where that texture is and like bring it into the save file that goes with it. And that's one of the reasons that I've been holding it off, because of this potentially happening. It means that if you had the files, you're fine. So he probably had this one that's used on the ground, but the walls are a marble that I downloaded. The floor is one that I downloaded. This one was the one that came with the Canterlot Wargames map. So if you have that map, that's going to be included already. Same with the pillars. But everything else, yeah, that's custom for me. The only thing that could make it work otherwise is that this is a quick render. If I did a full render, it might include all the textures in it. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's because of that. And it's because that if I wanted to take this and make it public, now I'd have to figure out where all those textures are. And the only way for me to do that is to go around, try to look at them all, then put it to another computer like this and make it give that to people and say, here, now what does it look like, and then try to narrow it down. They go, okay, now what does it look like? And yeah, it's missing, I think, the models here. Yeah, the flags are not there too, so it's just showing what he has. So yeah, so yes, it'll still be a long ways. What does that do? That's gonna be, I don't think that's just the BSP. It might, I might give it a shot at some point, but as of right now, it's not really my priority because I have Anthology and BronyCon coming up, so all the stuff I'm doing, any of the stuff I'm not doing on stream right now is Anthology. Anytime I'm doing stuff on stream is for the Australia video, so which I should jump back to now that I know that doesn't work. Yeah, if you have the Canterlot Wargames maps, some of those textures are from that, so yeah, it would work. Those ones would work. So that's why you have a red floor through a purple building. But that sounds like it's for a save file. I'm not sure if that packing up is going to pack up everything that's included within just a specific map. Because it said BSP, but I'm not sure. I'm making some stuff. I just finished one today, actually. And then I'm now working on a second. I'm gonna readjust this to the normal time frame here. Actually, that almost works. Just, I still like this. It's one of my favorite shots from this right now. I like the lighting. Anyways, back to gold petals. Okay, so her motion was added in here, right? No. So she is not moving. All right, I go. All right. Yeah, she's not moving. So that part was lost. Oh, I did it again. It's when I go to select, I have to cross into the next bit, and sometimes it's something between those shots that's just broken. No, this is probably the last time I'm doing anything for Anthology. It sounds awesome to be a part of it, but the one thing that I don't like with it is that, is that link again? Anytime I want to make something short to make for YouTube, I feel like it should be time I'm putting into something for Anthology. But then it's like sometimes that deadline's so far off that then I don't really want to work on anything short, so I end up just working on the long stuff. So instead I create these long gaps of nothing. And so I want, after this one, I want to make it so that if I'm putting time into something short, I want to have it so I'm not having a 6-month hiatus between everything that I make. So because I could make a short in like a week or two. When I'm like I did that with the Chrysalis video. I made one of the other Anthology shorts I made was like it's 8 seconds, and I made it in like about a week and a half of work, but it was split up over like a month and a half. So, and it was like I would rather be able to put the time into stuff so I'm not having such large gaps, and without having that over my head, I feel like I'll have the motivation back to make stuff smaller for a channel to put out right away. Doors was kind of fun. Yeah. Doors was kind of fun, but I think it's more fun to see what people make from it. It's nice that you can make something really, really short and put into something like that. But to me, even that was similar, because it's like, it's another thing where it's like, if I'm going to put time into something short, I should be doing something for that. So I just kind of want to jump out of anything collaboratory based so that I can kind of focus on not having gaps of nothing. Okay. So is there anything more I need to do in here? Oh yeah, I was going to do... See? Even just doing that, I think I froze it again. I need to figure out what's going on with that, but my normal freezing reasons aren't fixing it. Normally it's an alpha error. Yeah, that's the main reason for PABs that I said. The reason for PABs that I said I would do a lot of the lighting and stuff is because that I really like doing. Well, animating is one of those that I kind of have to be in the mood to do it, and I have been lately, so that's why I've been doing some more stuff on the side. But I was like, but lighting and scene building are stuff that I just love doing. So if it comes down to doing just that part, I don't care. That's fine with me. You're DDoSing my computer? Oh, you butthole. Okay, well, if that's not working, I'm going to go to this one instead. Though even this, I don't even know if I need to do anything. Okay, let me see. Did I have this scene rendered? No, I think I crashed before I got to this one. No, I didn't. Okay, good. because it's the frame rate, and without the motion blur and everything on a lot of these, it doesn't show what a shot should actually look like, or the impact that it would give for the camera motion. When you have a low frame rate motion, it sometimes feels more impactful than when it actually smooths it out and is at the consistent 30 frames a second. So I want to open this and look at it rendered to see what it actually looks like. Okay. I feel like there's still something missing in here. Well, for one, I feel like the motion blur is a little weird in there. Or is it even motion blur? Oh no, I think it's the focus I have. I'm trying to balance it between the two. Nope, it's just locked. Okay, so that would help here. So she's in focus here. So right there. About this point is probably going to be pretty consistently sideways. So I'm going to go like this. I'm going to drop that field of view in. Still, I'm actually surprised. Still has to pull in, but even then, it's like, do I technically want to have her be the main focus the entire time, or do I want to have it shift focus to him as Sam at some point? And the reason he comes in at the last second like this is because technically I don't have it open anymore. I'll show you to find it. Gotta be in my history. There it is. Because he comes in from being in the back of the shot there, and then just comes around in the fade. So he will come around more. I might have the bookmarks saved. Okay. So this is not correct. No. It is. So these aren't used anymore because originally there's going to be a second shot here, which I think is deleted. Originally there's going to be a different shot. I probably decided I wasn't going to use it. So what these bookmarks mean is that these two shots will be. This one I had to determine a start point. So this is when this one starts to fade in, and then this is when it ends the fade in. So these are the areas that I have to ensure that I am animating up through. Because, well, before I could just say whatever, fade between them however I wanted. Here, because of the spinning, I needed to ensure that I'm not spinning too far and not enough. So all these then have just been me putting these around the mid-ground. So then here would be this point and this point. Steel teeth. Still want to mess with him more. Would be from there. and such. So yeah, I think, so I have that Ember and Sam steel teeth, so I'm probably going to make this one. I still want to put Marchuana. I don't know why I can't get it out of my head. White mane. Okay. I still don't know who I want to put here, though. And that's for this one. This shot right here. That's why it kind of comes through as it does. Though, again, I've considered dropping this to 24 frames a second because I feel like it might add more impact to it to be at that instead of 30. But I haven't decided yet. And if I do change frame rate, it's going to be an ass to fix it all the way through. So that's kind of been my purpose not doing it. So anyways, I will look at this one. And when this is spinning on the original, what the hell is that? Oh, that's the. What the hell is that? Like a thumb? Oh, it's the thumb. He has a thumb in front. See, like here, I have the clouds spinning much faster, and here you can even see clouds crisscrossing. And I think I'm spinning the clouds way faster in here. And so I've thought about just modifying it myself instead of having a spinning sky dome, because you can kind of tell it's a spinning sky dome. But I feel like for one here, bubble butt, because I don't have it locked. Like here, I feel like her mane is probably not animated enough on the front here. I don't have the other shots. Whatever, I can just do it myself. Oh, that's why. Her hair is separate. Just these ones I need to worry about. So shouldn't be too difficult to do. So this is where it hits the peak of this direction. Actually, I wonder if doing it on this side's going to work better. Should. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. Now I don't want them all moving at once, so I'm just going to take this one and we'll move this one forward a couple frames, and we'll move this one that way. I think I accidentally undid this one. Yeah, that looks much better. I thought about taking like her motion too. I'm gonna take off of her random motion stuff, because from here to here she's moving, I think. Oh, I should probably actually select Ember. That'd make a difference too. No, her butt's gonna wobble a bit. It's not tied to that. It's a jiggle bone. So if I actually wiggle it at the beginning here and I give the butt time to... Actually, wait, did I bake this? No, it's not. So if you give it time, it will not wobble so much. But yeah, you see, it's just doing that. I could just do this. Go boop, bake the bones, then grab the butt, go in, bam. Butt is no longer jiggled. Which really, I might as well bake this model because her tail and everything is separated. So why not? I liked Ember. She was actually, to me, one of the most memorable characters from the story, so that's why I actually have her. She probably has more screen time on here than anybody else, besides Rainbow Dash. But mainly because Sylvedel is such a large portion of that story that it was hard not to include it to be the majority. So yeah, that's why I got her there. But I got Sam too. I just don't know what to do with his hair. Like, I have no idea. He's just... I think I broke Sam. I broke Sam. That's color. I know why it does that, but because I was trying to think of compared to the rest of the book, yes, but it's a long story arc for book 1, which is all this is encompassing. Never actually utilized this, but I want to save it for later. Yeah, and that's originally I was thinking about using this one, but it felt too clean and proper for somebody that's very dirty. I just felt it was probably the best suited in terms of trying to be regal, but yeah, and I don't want to use the traditional mohawk because he wouldn't look unique in any way. I kind of went through all these, and the problem is a lot of mains out there. That actually could work. I don't like how thick the back part is, but it's doable to make it work. The other thing too is, well, I might be able to find a main that works. I technically have to have him in a shot that has wind going by, meaning that the more control I have over the hair, the better, because I need to have it floppy. But then, like, this pony has no hair bones, so while the hair might work, I have no way to give it any type of wind feel. And when you have somebody falling, if the hair isn't moving, it completely destroys the effect. And so I need something that has hair motion. I've thought that about using, because it would have the best effect, is the blackjack hair, but I don't think that would work for him, because it's kind of a butch female kind of look. Even if I colored it and shrunk it, I don't think it would work. But it's the coolest in terms of getting a physical effect. I might just have to go through the workshop, because I might be able to find some people that have made some other ones that work kind of. Problem is by searching through these, I add to my memory every time I load a model. It's just too much female hair. And I do have Super Saiyan hair. There's that good. I have to color it brown or whatever, but it actually doesn't look that bad. And this one actually does have, or these do have bone controls, so you can make it flop. Well, no, I can texture this to... Yeah, I know, I'm actually surprised it's actually didn't turn out too half bad. Photoshop's still open? Yeah, I can, here, we can just do this quick. Because I can change it, texture, whatever I want. Oof, where's this going? Is this... Har. Okay, that's all the texture is. Wow. That's super low poly. That's fine. But, yeah. Come on, creep. Haven't seen you for a while. Alright, so let's do this as... We need to make this kind of a brown. Let's do that for now. I want to increase the quality a little bit, so I'm going to take this image size, I'm going to up this to 256, which it's going to look identical once on there. But the reason I did it is because I want to blend these little areas right here a bit better. Because if I don't blend those, they're going to look weird. Try it. I can scale up the textures as much as I want because it looks at it based on a ratio. So as long as it'll scale it up to whatever it needs to from that, as long as the ratio is the same, and I keep it the square size. So it's an easy way to increase the quality of a texture. It actually doesn't look that bad. Like, I was actually really surprised. The only thing I can think of is potentially some of these like dark lines in there. You could kind of get rid of. But I'm actually surprised that worked. The only thing I don't like is how it impacts the ear. But even then, I really don't care, because how I see it is that it's hair. It's going to clip because that's what hair does. It molds itself to whatever it hits. It is a little bit too much, I think. But I really could give a flying crap. So this is hair left. Same. Nah, that'd be a bit too much. I just felt like it was almost like balding down towards the edge there. So I needed to add something a little further down. I don't know, which do you think? Do you think it's better with the extra down at the bottom? Or do you think it's keep it up higher? This, the only reason I don't like this is that it kind of makes him feel like he has a wig. Yeah, well, it's Kingdom Hearts is, yeah, the hair is basically that anyway. It's fine. Which way? You think just keep it like this? I actually kind of like the idea of having the smaller bits there. The haircut is fine, you think? Let me try just doing smaller bits. Just move it up. I really don't think that's needed. Okay, now this is the other test. Yeah, he does. Here, we'll fix this. Do better now? See less anime. Here, we will make him fight with sword. There, anime. Ah, this epic battle. Ah, the windmill technique. happened to your sword? Ah. I don't think I ever playheaded it, so I guess that would make sense why that didn't work. Get back their hair. Shall not escape. Okay. I'm breaking the camera. It was the best. It was the closest music I could think of that would work. Okay. Oh, I should probably not have everything set up like this now. Except for I fix things afterwards, so now I don't know. I need to make him not be angry. There we go. Oh yeah, and his arms are having spasms. Oh crap, that's actually permanently up. There we go. Technically, this is on Twitch immediately afterwards. I'm just really slow about putting it on YouTube, mainly because I have that 2-week gap now, and I use the internet for other stuff right afterwards, and it slows everything down. So, but Twitch usually has stuff for the next 2 weeks. I might go to see if I can bring down that back hair. Yeah, I think I like that a bit more. freaking mirror of itself. I'll put a short little video of that up on Twitter afterwards, because that was pretty funny. Oh, it's after 9 o'clock. I passed my time anyway. So he looks so weird and standoffish from like this is like liquid hair to like freaking rock hard. Okay, whatever, I'm not gonna worry about that right now. Anyways, finished first shots. Yay, didn't get much done. Not big surprise. Saved, close, 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 close. He does love hair gel. There's a lot of it down, you know, in the post-apocalyptic city that's been attacked for hundreds of years. Yeah, you can mirror motions, kind of. For like front legs for a pony are easy because the rotations are identical from left to right. They're parallel, but like back legs aren't. They're like turned a little bit. So copy pasting, if you do it, you're copying this motion and putting it over like this, and so they don't really match up right. But the front legs, if you copy paste, it does work. But you could only you just copy the rotation of everything. And back legs do work. You'll just have to correct things a little bit. So yeah. So yeah. And actually, the nice thing about that hair is that technically, when wearing a helmet, I could have a little bit of it poking out. You just shrink it down a lot and then jam a bunch of like swaggy hair in there. So, anyways, I'll put a preview of that. Whatever we just did, up on Twitter shortly. So anyways, everybody have a good night, and I will be back streaming on Friday to do more bullshit stuff. So alright, oh yeah, kitty, have a kitty button, because you gotta have the kitty. The GIF doesn't have audio, so that's why you need the audio. Alright. I might make both, whatever. Alright, see you guys later.